Hello, party people. Pretty much on time. I'll call it good for the sake of the 50 seconds I missed. So today we're going to have a very short recap of some news stuff. And then we're going to do a lot of gaming because, well, I didn't get to do any yesterday and I want to. Let's get the browser up, and we start where we always start, with Thus Always to Dickheads. Okay, and I think I only have one for this story, or for this section, and from Chris Brunette. Or sorry, maybe Brunet. There's an island near where I live in Newfoundland called Brunet Island. Some people will spell it and pronounce it as Brunette. It is not. It's Brunet. For the past 150 plus years, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police served as the nation's most recognizable national symbol. Something to be proud of. Now they're so ashamed of their recruits, they turn off their comments. No, I'm not kidding. Look at this. Oops. And, yeah. Yeah, in any case, yeah, only some accounts can reply. Yep. How about that now? So, join us May 26th. That will be 2 days from now, in Newmarket for a career presentation. If you've ever had any questions about becoming an RCMP officer, this is the time to ask. Now, granted, I'm no fan of the cops, but maybe if we had a few more white people on the force, you know, a few more guaranteed to be loyal Canadians. For the record, if you're wondering what I'm drinking, it's actually watered down Mountain Dew Supernova. So excuse me. I think that went down the wrong pipe. Slightly. It's Mountain Dew Supernova. It's like a berry melon flavor. It's not bad. It's like my third soft drink this month. So, yeah, every now and again I'll have one. Yeah, so congratulations to the RCMP for having a class of graduates that, well, let me just open this in a new tab, and we'll have a good long look at this. Oops. We'll have a nice long look at this row of absolutely stunning and brave and intimidating and obviously definitely strong-jawed. Yeah, you know, kudos to the little guy. He's probably the best one there. He might actually be there with purpose. Yeah. Yeah. This one will be wearing a turban when he starts. This one will be wearing a turban when he starts. That one too. Yeah. Yeah. What a... what the fuck? Just a second. What the hell is this guy wearing on his feet? Oh, okay. Boots with spurs. Acceptable. Barely. Folks, I get that you're not fully in uniform, but really? Like those are dollar store shoes. Like, come on. You're fucking with us, right? You absolutely have to be. Oh, New Balances. Oh, at least you spent a bit of money. Yeah. What a lovely group of people. I feel safer already. Okay, let's move on to my new favorite segment, Base Japan. And as with Six Semper Mentalis today, I only have one story. And it's from Haruka Awake, There is no evidence anywhere which has suggested such a thing. Instead of stealing our history, perhaps these people should think about actually building something useful. And the image here, evidence suggests, that ancient Japanese were black Negroid or black Australoid. This black-owned hut in Osaka was created by black Japanese. It's black, as in the color, which is wrong, and it's owned. Maybe? But, yeah, this is obvious rage bait. But I did say, said black scholar. Yeah, my source is that I made it the fuck up. Yeah. Those unable to design their own culture must steal culture from others. Some steal culture and then anything not nailed down. We was Kangs. No, you were... Yeah. Let's see what the ancient Egyptians thought of... Yeah. Rome, 2,000 years ago. Somalia, an hour ago. Yeah. You can just make up black history. This is true. Did you know, for example, that black people were the actual Vikings? They didn't come from the Norwegian, Scandinavian areas. No. They actually sailed out of Madagascar all the way around the Horn of Africa, all the way up to Newfoundland to, discover the New World. Didn't go anywhere near South America. Didn't go anywhere near, Asia. No, they came just here. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Yes, they was the original Japanese, the original Irish. They was Napoleon and Mozart. Blacks were everything and everyone in history. They have the brains of small children and will believe absolutely anything. They actually will believe this stuff. For example, did you know that Japan was 95% black before the U.S. nuked them twice back in World War II? They have been trying to erase the Kang dynasty from the history books. The first Celtic Irish settlers were dark-skinned people, so people of Ireland get educated before commenting about my identity. I'm a proud black and Irish woman. My ancestors were here first. Okay, you may have heard the expression, black Irish. Or, like me, when you were a kid, you may have been told by an Irish nun that you were saucy as to black. Has nothing to do with Africans. It's everything to do with your religion. Catholics think that anyone who isn't Catholic, at the time at least, it may be an attitude that has changed since, but Catholics used to think that anyone who wasn't Catholic had a black soul, or a black mark on their soul. Hence, saucy as to black. This is apparently the real Napoleon. Yeah. Swarthy Mozart portrait found in a radio station in Belgium. Yeah. Clearly altered. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, and then a radioactive meteorite struck. Well, no, they had the sun dropped on them twice, which clearly bleached them. Let's have a look at the clown show. I mean the comments section. Fortunately, this one's going to be a bit of a longer segment. Okay, first up we have from Maxime Bernier. This is going to be a long read. Here's the question Albertans will answer on October 19th. Should Alberta remain a province of Canada, or should the government of Alberta commence the legal process required under the Canadian Constitution to hold a binding provincial referendum on whether or not Alberta should separate from Canada? A lot of people in the comments are complaining, well, how do you answer yes or no to this question? You don't. You answer A or B, because it's a binary choice. Same as a yes-no, it's just you don't have the yes-no options, which is fine. Should Alberta remain a province of Canada? They'd be absolute fucking idiots to do so at this point. Pierre Poilievre said Thursday that his party will campaign for Alberta to stay in Canada. I want a strong Alberta within a united Canada, and all Conservatives will be campaigning for Canadian unity in Alberta. Well, of course, the feds want Alberta to be strong. Where do you think their tax base is? If the Remain option wins, it means nothing changes. Yeah, so again, Carney gets to be a Remainer. Which is what Pierre supports. He will work with the Liberals and promote the status quo. Oh, Didger's in. Says, press B to separate. B. Just 1 second here. There we go. Should be enough. Also, hi. Hi. This would be an opportunity to bring about radical decentralization. How in the fuck are you going to decentralize a country that you didn't leave? When the federal government is just grasping and grasping at more power. Education is no longer solely the purview of the provinces. Healthcare, the welfare programs, there's loads of things. The People's Party is supporting Albertans and the Start side. And I did say that in a truly just society, the federal government would take this as a sign that the provinces are no longer happy to be the follower class within the Confederation. Something people don't seem to realize. Alberta isn't just full of Albertans. There's a lot of Newfoundlanders in Alberta. There's a lot of BC folk in Alberta. People who were sick and tired of living in BC. I talked to several people when I lived there, and that was 20 years ago. People from Quebec, people from Ontario, people from all over this country end up in Alberta because that was where it was essentially the Canadian land of opportunity, to borrow a phrase from the Americans. Excuse me. The idea that remaining in Canada won't continue the centralization of powers is folly. Look at Quebec. Quebec has for generations threatened. In fact, the last referendum was a generation ago. Quebec has for generations threatened to leave Canada. And yet they're the ones who benefit the most from the provincial transfer payment system, the support payments system that Ottawa set up. Alberta has never received a payment. Newfoundland, the moment we got off the system, got fucked over. Because we were no longer... Ottawa was terrified that we would no longer be so easy to influence with welfare programs. I truly, honestly wish it had stayed that way. Unfortunately, we have politicians in Newfoundland that love to give things away. Yeah. Dogs Eat Tacos says, if we leave Canada, we absolutely have to join the U.S. It's not a binary choice. Newfoundland, in the 40s, had an independence vote. We had initially three options. We had remain as we were, which was under commission government as a colony of the UK, return to representative government so that we would again be an independent country, or pursue confederation with Canada. Those three choices were the original ballot, the ballot that was finally voted on. At no point did it have the concept of joining the U.S. Now, likely we would have, almost certainly at that point, we would have probably been much more likely to look at joining the U.S., more likely as a territory or a possession, I think might be the right term. But you have to realize that in 1949, Newfoundland was the center for transatlantic flight. We were the front line for North America's defense during World War II. In fact, people on Bell Island actually sank 2 U-boats, which people don't really know about anymore because it gets subsumed. Instead of being considered the Battle of Bell Island, it is considered part of the wider Battle of the St. Lawrence. Bell Island is nowhere in the St. Lawrence. Yeah, that sort of erasure of Newfoundland's history is another reason, and the erasure of our culture is attempted as well, with an attempt to subsume us into Canada as if we had always been part of Canada. We weren't. My father wasn't born a Canadian. He was born in 1947. He was born a British citizen, technically a British subject. Yeah. Didger, this wouldn't decentralize shit. Yeah, federalism, sorry, I said shit. All the remaining provinces are still beholden to Ottawa. That's also true. They'd just be a lot broker, and so, yeah, Quebec would almost, here's what I can see happening. If Alberta leaves, the rest of the country balkanizes, and you end up, maybe, with Ontario and Quebec staying together. Maybe Manitoba will stay with them. My likely expectation would be that Saskatchewan would immediately petition to join Alberta as a member of Alberta's extensions. BC would probably, significant parts of BC would certainly lobby to be part of Alberta. You might have the Yukon attempting to join. The Northwest Territories and Nunavut would absolutely want to stay with Canada because Canada has the the reservation system, the Indian Affairs system. That should be one of the first things Alberta ditches. And it should be a case of, if you are First Nations and in Alberta, you're an Albertan. Nothing else. You get exactly the same rights, responsibilities, and obligations as an Albertan. And I've said before, that's the way all the natives should be treated in this country anyway. Yeah. But Dogs Eat Tacos points out, if we leave Canada, we absolutely have to join the United States. Not true. And the only problem I have with that is the problem folks they have wanting to come to Alberta. I'm not talking about the legal gun owners of the U.S. Under the assumption that he was talking about the Somalis, I pointed out, yeah, there's already loads of Somalis in Alberta. There is another reply there. Independence at least puts us in charge of the numbers of immigrants, not Ottawa. There's another problem there. Danielle Smith has said she wants to double the population of Alberta. She's not going to do that through birth rates. Yeah, she wants to bring in immigrants. Every single Western leader believes that infinite immigrants will somehow help their jurisdiction, for lack of a better word, survive. If you take... Let's put it this way. Say this little cup here, it's the top of a pill bottle. Say this is full of white beads. If I start putting in black ones, and I take out, or say terrible analogy, sorry, forget about it. Basically, if you put too many people from somewhere else in a place, it stops being that place. Right? It's not a ship of Theseus issue. Let's see... Quebec would fucking collapse if Alberta left. They'd need to run screaming to France or the EU. America would snap them up while holding its nose. Maybe. I could see significant balkanization happening, right? The maritime provinces and Newfoundland potentially would be able to make a go of it. I can see New Brunswick and Quebec wanting, or at least significant parts of New Brunswick, if not the entire province, wanting to join Quebec. Nova Scotia, it would be a natural fit with Maine. There's probably already a lot of interplay in terms of commerce and just people moving back and forth. Yeah. Let's see here. Bitter truth. Ideally, Liberal and Conservative parties should follow the same rule book like they do for the advocacy of Khalistan. That's something else. Apparently, at least the impression I get from this person, and I don't know if it's true, I didn't bother to research that. I actually did ask the question. If they are so supportive of Khalistan, or any other separatist movement in the world, why doesn't Canada announce Alberta and Quebec as free nations as well? Gee, I don't know. Why didn't the Ukraine announce Donbass as a free nation? Grasping federals. And I did ask, did the federal parties actually make a statement saying they believed Khalistan to be a free country? Someone tell me, how the hell you answer that question with a yes or a no? It's not a yes or a no, it's an either or. Yeah. If you need a question boiled down to a simple binary, you shouldn't be fucking voting. That's another issue. Good analogy, bad prop, grab a drinking glass. Yeah, fair point, yeah. Okay, say this is full of water. It's not, but say it was full of water. If I start putting piss in it, how long before it's a bottle of piss? America will want Quebec's hydroelectric capacity. Excuse me? I think you mean Newfoundland's hydroelectric capacity? Churchill Falls is Newfoundland, dude. Quebec doesn't actually do much for hydroelectric themselves. All of the hydroelectric they're selling, it's being pumped out through Newfoundland. Yeah. Newfoundland and Labrador. Yeah. There's a reason that... piece of Newfoundland news for you guys. Apparently, it looks like the Newfoundland government is going to reject the memorandum of understanding between the Quebec government and the Newfoundland government, the previous Newfoundland government, over creating a new development, a new Churchill Falls deal. Because it looks like it's just as bad as the last one, if not worse. Yeah. Basically, what happened was, in order to get the money to build the hydroelectric project in Churchill Falls in, I believe, the 50s and 60s, Newfoundland made a very, very bad deal, in good faith, with Quebec. Essentially, we sell them megawatts for pennies. They turn around and resell that to other provinces and the US for massive profits. Yet somehow Quebec is still a have-not province. Yeah. Yeah, I could see them lining the Gulf of St. Lawrence because there's a lot of commerce traveling through there. This is not progressive in any way. Why do you want to be progressive? Let's see. Why does Remain get both options, but Leave only gets the second option? What the fuck are you on about? Not exactly the message, pal. We're going to campaign to divide the country like we always do. Well, if you don't think the... Yeah, exactly. Voting outcome could give Alberta a strong mandate to fight Ottawa. This is another thing, too. Even if Alberta doesn't choose to... Oh, I have a noisy piece of... or a noisy bit of company. 1 second. I have to change microphones. Okay, you can hear me again. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Didger. Newfoundland is getting fucked by that deal. Thoroughly. We definitely get fucked in that deal by Quebec. We're getting thoroughly fucked in the transfer payment system by Ottawa. For a while, we weren't getting transfer payments, and we were still a have-not province. Yeah, it's just dirty all the way around. But our provincial politicians aren't helping any either. So, but not surprising, all these people are educated with the same crowd. From Blacklock's reporter, Attorney General Sean Fraser MP says he fears some future Minister Justice Canada English. Okay, I guess oh, nice. Isn't it wonderful that the Canadian Department of Justice has 2 different accounts? Will use hate laws to target environmentalists or political opponents. Calls it dangerous. Hate laws. As opposed to the hate laws we have targeting white people right now? Holy shit, I thought you heard the dog barking outside my window. Seriously, it started barking and your finger went up a second later. No. Let's see. Sean Fraser is concerned another government is going to operate like the Liberals have for the past decade. Any power you give a government for your good is always one that can be used against you by somebody else. What's this here? So he admits his laws are tyrannical. Yeah, they always reveal through projection. Then, what have we got here? I think this is a young lady defending white folk. Elon Musk reposted. Okay, we'll see what this chickie has to say.
So last week, The Telegraph published an article that I featured in talking about the far right's new weapon, right? Glamorous young women, which is pretty ridiculous because the only weapon that I have here in the United Kingdom is my mouth to speak the truth. And even that could be used against me. People are going to prison for it. So, yeah, you know. I don't really care what this article had to say. I mean, I was interviewed for it over the phone. I said what I had to say, and then this has come about. Yeah, I don't care what people think of me. Like,
I don't care what people think of me. Immediately pulls her top up. I don't care what people say about me. Gave an interview. Yeah. Okay, I guess I didn't respond in here, probably in the repost. Yeah, the further society drifts from the truth, the more it will hate those who speak it. That's true. Speaking of truth, let's see. Target the environmentalists, please. Okay. When I was a kid, environmentalist meant someone who actually gave a shit about the immediate environment, preventing pollution, things like that. Now, someone who cares about the environment is an absolute lunatic who thinks people are a problem. From Visegrad 24, Birmingham has elected its new Lord Mayor. Zakir Chowdhury, a Pakistan-born politician, has been sworn in as the new Lord Mayor of Birmingham, Britain's second-largest city. The city council ceremony opened with an Islamic prayer. Chowdhury becomes the first Muslim Liberal Democrat to hold the position of Lord Mayor in the United Kingdom. He speaks limited English and prefers to communicate in fucking Urdu. Yeah. Let me push my mic back out of the way. Excuse me. Birmingham elects Pakistani-born politician with limited English as its new Lord Mayor. It's fucking clown world, man. Exactly the same energy, right? It's cultural appropriation in one direction or the other at this point. Little Lord Soccer Fauntleroy Chowdhury himself. Nice. This year, go to Birmingham and enjoy a diverse holiday. It's not Birmingham yet. I hope. Don't think you understand just how great immigration is for GDP. Yeah. More commercials. Yeah. She watches the economy grow. News is a what? News is better than doom scroll. Yeah. Buy stuff, see ads, grow GDP. Jesus Christ. Yep. There we are. I don't care how this sounds. That's an ugly picture of two mutts and the travesty of British culture. Fair enough. How did we get here? I hear people say. How did we get here? I hear people say. Easy, the left woke Marxists have been planning this since the 50s. Enoch Powell wasn't wrong in the 60s, let's put it that way. Anyway, gonna dip to get a coffee. We'll lurk on mobile for a bit. Excellent. I won't be too much longer doing stories, and then I'll be into the gaming anyway. Let's talk about Doug Ford. Doug Ford says, gun owners, protect your guns. Simple as that. Don't ever give them away. Yeah.
A judge ruled last night that the region of Waterloo is not allowed to remove people living in a Kitchener encampment. Yeah. However, it is on a parking lot that Metrolinx needs to start work on, a massive new transit hub. What is your response to that, Premier? And do you think that the province could help the KW region in this situation?
I was on the phone late last night with the chair of Waterloo, a couple mayors up there, as well as our Attorney General. It's the most ridiculous ruling I've ever seen. Don't get me wrong, I have a great deal of respect for our judge of Supreme Court, but he comes out with this cockamamie idea that they're going to hold up.
Doug, the word is not cockamamie, it's cockamamie. Maybe drink a little less before you give a press conference.
An encampment, they're going to hold up transit. So for what, 30 people, they're going to hold up millions and millions of riders, communities and everything, saying you can't go in there, you can't touch them. So guess what, folks? Anyone can show up in your backyard. I wish they'd show up in this judge's backyard and set up camp. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. You can't move them on. We'll give them shelter and take care of these folks. But the judge is saying that we got to hold up projects and everything. I wish I could get that guy's address. I'll send 50 encampments in his backyard.
Yeah. Also, with I think that's Melanie Jolie next to him. It's not a good look, Doug.
And see how he likes it. The craziest decision I've ever heard. But there's a lot of crazy decisions coming from our courts lately.
Yeah, who's got the power to do something about that, Doug? It's not you, is it? I mean, you're only the premier of the fucking province. Also, that was completely irrelevant. So, the quote from Harrison Faulkner, I suspect he may have put the wrong video in, is, gun owners, protect your guns, simple as that, don't ever give them away. There's just enough time for him to have said that.
And on top of gun owners, protect your guns. Simple as that. Don't ever give them away.
Okay, so he did actually say it. Good. So then I asked Grok, what measures, if any, has the Ontario government taken to protect legal gun owners from the federal government's buyback program? Grok responded with, Ontario has opposed federal buyback program publicly. That's nice. And refused to support it with provincial resources. So they decided they wouldn't do anything new. Kind of like Doug Ford is not going to do anything new to deal with these judges. Paying lip service. Premier Ford and officials like Solicitor General Michael Kersner have stated Ontario stands with legal, law-abiding gun owners and will not divert police or government resources to the program. Many Ontario police services, especially in the north, have opted out of participation, citing operational priorities. Excuse me. The province focuses in teriyaki beef jerky. Citing operational priorities. The province focuses instead on illegal guns and organized crime. No provincial legislation blocking it has passed yet, unlike some other provinces. And then I continued. So they are essentially paying lip service to the idea of protecting legal gun owners as opposed to taking any concrete legislative steps. Grok responds again. Ontario's actions go beyond pure lip service, but stop short of the legislative barriers. Grok is so nice to Canadian politicians. Far nicer than I would be. They've explicitly refused to dedicate provincial resources, police time, or infrastructure to the federal program. They've basically said, we're not going to do that. But all they've done is say, we're not going to help the federal government, but we're not going to do anything to stop them either. Multiple police services, OPP, Toronto, and several northern forces have opted out, citing operational priorities. This creates real practical hurdles for rollout. The fact that Toronto is not interested in stopping guns when they're the reason we have a handgun ban in this country is fucking disgusting. That said, no Ontario legislation has been passed to block, nullify, or create legal obstacles to the program, as opposed to the way they've done that in Saskatchewan and Alberta. The Ford government continues to emphasize targeting illegal guns and crime over confiscating legal ones, but formal statutory protection for owners remains absent. So, yeah, they will target the criminals, but they will not protect the law-abiding from the feds. Seems fair. Okay, I'm going to skip that one. And I shouldn't have, because that was the last one. Okay, I've got two more little items for you guys, and then we'll go on to the gaming. Okay, from Telegram. Oops, I just closed that. So this is Rebecca. She says she texted her husband about their son rearranging his bedroom. Guess I'll never understand men. I don't know how well you can see that image. I will blow it up afterwards. Actually, I'll blow it up now. Should be able to blow it up a bit better. It's not bad. But as you can see, everything is... This is a shot from the door frame, and everything is facing the door. Okay? Let's see. Looks like Charlie rearranged his room, she says. He says, it looks good. He shoved the bed in the corner. This makes no sense. Sure it does. It's an instinctive guy thing from the caveman days. One entrance, one protected flank, ancient male architecture. The wolves can only attack from one direction now. Bravo, Charlie. And yeah, mom can suck it. This is literally how men set up camps and everything else years and years ago. Matter of fact, if this was still a caveman sort of dwelling, this bed would be his, and behind it would be the family's, because he's the defender. Yeah. Okay, and one last really kind of cool thing that I want to show you guys from Luxic. This is a very short video, so I'll let it play a couple of times. That's probably still going to cost me a copyright thing, but I don't do this for YouTube. I do it for here on Rumble. Speaking of which, since I forgot to do it in the beginning, if you would like to support me, you can fling me a few bucks over on Ko-Fi, or you can chat, comment, like, share, follow, or subscribe to English, depending on platform. If you follow on Rumble, it's the same as subscribing on YouTube. If you subscribe on Rumble, it will cost you a little bit of money every month. I would prefer that you did that through Ko-Fi. If you support me monthly there, I'll put your name in the ticker unless you ask me not to. That would get you in with Zenrab7, Sadie Sapientier, and Simon JJ. It's your money. Do what you want with it. But I will get more of it if you do it through the Ko-Fi. Simple as that. You can also send one-times. Matter of fact, if you want, you can actually send supers that way. Just post it in Ko-Fi. If you have a different name, login, nickname, whatever, on Ko-Fi than you do here, make sure you identify yourself so I know who to say thank you to. Okay, This is just cute. These aren't miniature models. This is real Japan, filmed with a tilt-shift lens that physically bends the focal plane to mimic how your eye sees small objects. The result convinces your brain that full-scale trains, cities, and boats are tiny toys. No filter, no CGI, just glass doing something your phone can't. Oh, excuse me, sorry. And yeah, this is fairly short, but it's very cute. I'll let it play a couple of times. I mean, that does look like almost a stop motion set or something. And these look like animated figures, but they're not. This is an actual live shot. It's so fucking cool. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's going to be the end of the news segment. Thank you all very much for being here. If you're watching in the future on the replay on Rumble or on the upload on YouTube, please consider flinging me a few bucks on Ko-Fi. Like, share, chat, subscribe, follow if you want to on Rumble. Other than that, yeah, I hope you're doing well. I hope you continue to do well. And as always, rise and rise again until lambs become lions. Bye-bye.